Hey, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Mary Guy, and I'm here to give you my progress on how I have been working towards self discipline and where my progress is on my May 2025 goals, as well as I'm going to use this time to also talk about pay myself first budget because I'm gearing up for one of my particular goals for this month, and then also just for future goals. And just where this progress has taken me this month is I've dived deeper into my finances, and I've noticed some things that I would definitely want to change as far as like my spending. I have videos prior to this video over tracking my spending, all different types of topics that I've shared along the way. And so where I'm at now in regards to my goal is diving deeper into my finances, gearing myself up to be able to save more versus spending more, finding ways and where my money can actually grow and accumulate over time. And so that's just where my focus is. So I'm going to share a little bit of that with you guys towards the end of this video and just share with you where I'm at with my budget, as well as like some different things that I've been kind of researching and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my progress on my goals. If this is your first time watching my video, there are several other videos similar to this where I talk about my progress on goals. I talk about self-discipline. I talk about some key aspects of discipline, different tips on how to build my discipline, and then I've even shared my progress on becoming more disciplined during this month and how I've progressed towards meeting some of my goals by implementing discipline. So please comment, like, and subscribe, and then also there is a playlist of all of my videos related to self-discipline that you can enjoy and watch at your own leisure. Or you can just go on the YouTube channel and you can see all the different videos that I've posted that's titled Self Discipline. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into my progress on my goals and just start sharing information on each of those goals for you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys what my May 2025 goals are. Just as a reminder, I have a total of 6 of them. My goal number 1 is to earn at least $2,000 from supplementary income that I have. Goal number 2 is to pay off Chase credit card, which totaled out to be $13.84 at the beginning of this month. Goal number 3 is to lose at least 10 pounds. My starting weight was 239 pounds. Goal number 4 is to start a SQL course on Microsoft to advance skill. Goal number 5 is to read, study, and meditate on discipline. Goal number 6 is to implement discipline in all areas of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my goal number 1 and share with you guys how I've progressed on this goal. So again, goal number 1 is to earn at least $2,000 from a supplementary income. I've been going through this each day on each of my videos, and I've also disclosed that it's getting close to the end of the month, and I will disclose what this supplementary income is just in case there's anybody else out there that's willing to attempt. Maybe you like my progress on the goal and you would like to try it out for yourself. So I will share that with you guys so that you'll have that as a way in which you could possibly earn some income. So the first week of this month, I earned a total of $370.61 from this income. So in order to meet my goal for the month, I had a remaining amount to earn of $16.29. Second week, I earned a little bit less than that, but that still brought me down to earning less than about $12.60 remaining for the rest of the month. Third week, I earned a total of $373.38. So that bring me back down to a balance of $886 left to earn, which at this point last week, I was aiming for getting at most like 800 to have left. So then these following 2 weeks, all I had to earn was about $400, which would be very much reasonable. So again, this week I wasn't able to earn any money on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, I earned $35.50, which is very much lower than normally what I would make in a day. And then Wednesday, today, I was able to earn $36.25. So if I did a little bit of math just to kind of see where I'm at, because in my previous video, I had calculated how much I would have to earn each day to earn that remaining balance of $886. It was about $77, which was not too far from my current average amount that I've earned so far in this month. If I divided it out by the total amount that I've earned this month, it was around $76. And so the $77, but now that I haven't met that $77, is going to increase the average amount that I need to earn on the remaining days that I have to earn. So I'm going to take 886.93 minus the 35.50 that I earned on Tuesday, and then the 36.25 that I earned today. And that brings me down to a remaining balance of $815.18, divided by, I have 3 plus 7, so 10 days. So that's $81.52 that I would have to earn on average each day going forth in order to meet my goal. Still not too far over the amount, because school is ending for my son, and so that means I would be able to delegate a little bit more time because of having a little bit more free time in the afternoons to be able to delegate time towards earning this. So I'm going to be really pushing myself this weekend and next week all together, just to kind of see where I'm going to, as much as I can possibly do. So I'm just eager to see where I'm going to be on this goal. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, this month I had 2 weekend events. Of course, we know Mother's Day was the 11th of this month. I actually went out of town on the 10th to spend that weekend with my mom, and I planned some things for her. Went to a massage and went out to eat. And that's what really geared me towards talking about my budget, because I had to budget for that weekend because I wanted to be proactive, different from previous times where I would just go and do. And then when I get back, I realize I've spent crazy amounts of money. So I kind of looked at it prior to kind of see what money. So again, I'm saying that because it relates to this and how it affected how much I was able to earn on that Saturday, because I was leaving out of town on Saturday. So that Saturday amount is well below the normal amount that I would earn. And then last week, for some reason, Friday, even though I had the time and I actually used the time, it wasn't a model Friday of how much I would normally earn on a Friday, but it was still decent wise. And then Saturday, of course, I squeezed in time to earn, and I had to leave to go to a wedding event. Again, I budgeted for that as well. The cost, and I actually went under my budget. So that shows me how effective budgeting can be, because I actually learned a few things from that previous weekend, because I went over budget a little bit with what I expected to spend. And then the following weekend when I did my budget, I gave myself a little bit more cushion to hopefully not be able to go over budget. And so yet again, that affected me from being able to earn the full week. But then the rest of this month, I don't have anything that could get in the way as of now, that could get in the way of me earning money. So I'm just going to push myself real hard, take those sacrifices that I talked about in previous videos as it relates to self-discipline. You have to sacrifice, you have to really push through and persevere and endure in order to achieve your goal. So I am still optimistic that I'm able to meet this goal, and I'm very much optimistic I'm able to exceed this goal still, even with some of those low day counts. I'm really looking forward to the weekend of having that full weekend again to be able to earn, because generally those are the days that I normally earn on. And on average on the weekend, I would earn, I'm saying like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would normally earn a total of at least $500 just in those 3 days. And that's normally what I do, but this isn't this isn't my model month. This is just me as a baseline trying to earn, because I've had to fill in some weekdays to make up for the weekend of having to go out of town. So I'm just trying to earn all throughout the week when normally I would only focus on earning on the weekends. And then my normal schedule has changed within the past year because on some weekends, I spend that time in my relationship. So we spend time together on the weekends. And so that does cut down me being able to earn on Sunday, Monday, and then I'm able to earn back again on Tuesday. So that kind of takes a day away from me from earning, which that's a sacrifice as well because relationship, you got to spend time with the person that you're with. You got to delegate that time to spend. And so we don't stay in the same city. So that requires time like that. So that when we do spend time, we're actually spending time. However, this weekend, both of our schedules are not allowing us to see each other. So, I mean, we're still communicating things like that. We still stay in touch, but it won't be a visit for the weekend. So, with that being said, that kind of gives me that full weekend to earn money. And so I would still like to continue in my mind. I'm trying to gear myself up for potential goals for the upcoming month, just kind of seeing where I'm at this month. I would still like to continue, even if this isn't on paper, a goal that I put down, I would still like to share my progress on this one. And I probably do that on all of my goals, to be honest, because that's the whole idea of self-discipline, implementing self-discipline this time around for me is because in the past I've met many, many goals. I've exceeded many, many goals. But after I've exceeded them or met them, I may have slacked off a little bit. And that's not what self-discipline is about. It's about maintaining and continuing those goals. So yes, I want to meet this goal, but I want to continue tracking my progress on this. So I will be sharing probably a graph or something like on this slide, how I have a graph, and I'll just kind of just share a graph like this that shares how much money I've earned so far day by day. I'll just put up a graph and say, okay, I'm up to this point. So as you can see, this is a graph that shows how much I've earned from this venture so far this year. This is not by far my first year, and I'll share more of that towards the end of this month, going into the next month about this particular venture. But I've been doing this for some time now, and I've had some pretty good weeks, to be honest. But as you can see, in January of this year, I earned a little less than $1,000, and then all the other months, generally, it looks as though I've earned at least over $1,000. And then March is the month that I've earned the closest to what my goal is this month, which is $2,000. And then I can say that on each of these months, as you can see on this month, there's been some traveling, there's been different things that has kind of steered me away from being able to earn money. So, considering those things, I still think I did pretty good. But by me setting this as a goal, it's putting it in my forefront of my mind to be able to make more progress on it, just to see how far I can go. I want to push myself to see how far I can go and how much I could actually earn on this venture. Goal number 2 is to pay off Chase credit card. I started with a total of $1,384. I actually made my first payment on the 10th, the week of the 10th, which was prior to Mother's Day weekend. I actually paid it prior to that day. And that bumped me down to $922.42. I had to make some modifications on my following payment. So I'm aiming to make a payment on the 22nd, which is tomorrow, of the remaining balance, which that's why I've been reworking my budget and I've been implementing a pay myself first budget. And that's what I'm going to share, like where I'm at with that, with my budgeting tool that I'm using. Where am I with that? Because right now I haven't made that additional payment until I kind of work some things out in my mind. Goal number 3 is to lose at least 10 pounds. I weighed myself on April the 27th, and I was at 239 pounds. On May the 1st, I was at 237. On May the 4th, I was at 235.2. May 11th, I was at 233.8. And then the Sunday of this week, I weighed myself and I was at 232. And then I did mention in the previous video or previous videos about me going out of town on the wedding weekend. And I weighed myself like literally on that Saturday before leaving for the wedding weekend. I was at 228.4. I was already below my goal weight. And so I just took that weekend pretty much, and I ate cake and sweets and stuff that I normally wouldn't eat, and of course alcoholic beverages. And then when I weighed myself on that Sunday, which is the next day when I came back into town, that's when I weighed 232. So it just shows me how my diet choices affects my body weight, because in that overlap of a day, my weight went up 4 pounds, and that could be because of how my body processed the things that I ate or drank. But whatever the case may be, it still put me below. I've still figured that I did real good maintaining my weight, and I didn't go too far over it to where it didn't meet me where my projected weight is supposed to be, because my projected weight was to be 232.2 pounds. And how I came up with this projected weight is when I knew that I had to lose 8 pounds on May the 1st. I just divided that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then whatever that amount was, I just kept subtracting it from where I was. So 237, I think it's like 1.6 or something like that. Minus 1.6, minus 1.6. So I just calculated on average how many pounds I need to lose in a week, and in order for it to total out to be 8 pounds so that I can meet my goal. And so that's how I came up with my projected weight, which research says that on average it is nutritional good for you to lose 1 to 2 pounds each week. So that was within the healthy range. And so that's where I'm at. So I'll be weighing myself again on Sunday. And I'm eager to see how where I'm at on this scale. I can say that I have come across some challenges, of course. Temptation is not gonna go away. I've been tempted. I have resisted for the most part. Only day I can say that I kind of went off my budget or off of my budgeted calories, I guess it could be a budget, but off of my nutritional diet is on Saturday, the 17th, when I went on the wedding weekend getaway. But as of this, as of now until the end of this month, there's nothing that could really stand in my way other than myself if I just allow myself to wind up slacking off for one day. And also, one thing that just to kind of recap, how have I been able to lose these 10 pounds? Well, I have a routine. I've built myself a routine of going to the gym in the morning, taking walk breaks, just trying to stay active. Like I even track, I have my watch where it tracks my steps. And when I work out, I actually put it on the workout to see how many calories I'm burning in the gym when I'm in the gym. And then I also track it on my phone. It connects to my phone anyway. Excuse me. It connects to my phone to where it shows me how many steps and so forth. So those are the things that I do as far as fitness wise. Nutritionally, I stick to a low carb, low calorie, high protein diet. So that means that I'm eating fruits, vegetables, meat, water, no sugar, no sugar, no sugar, no snack foods, um, no junk foods, nothing, no bread, definitely no bread. And I try to stay away from pasta. I have eaten rice. I did a rice bowl one day this weekend, Me and my boyfriend, we actually make things over the weekend, but we've been steering towards healthy choices. And then we also go to the gym as well together when he's here for the weekend visiting. So with that being said, I just want to share that I had a video in the past where I did share a little bit more about some of the different dieting strategies that I've done in the past. Right now, I would say my dieting in comparison to what I've done in the past is a combination of them all. Some days I actually fast. That could be just eating watermelon, the whole day, just eating watermelon. That's all. That could be, I've had even some days this month where I would fast completely and only drinking water. And my go-to thing is chewing gum. Like, I love the extra peppermint chewing gum. I love that. So that kind of helps me on those fasting days. I drink plenty of water, just try to flush out my system. I'm not going too extreme on the fasting. I'm not trying to fast for a whole week or for several days at a time. Now, I have done that in the past for many reasons. Could be religious or could be just personal. But I don't think I've done that this month at all. If anything, I might have spent one day where all I ate was watermelon, a whole watermelon, maybe half in the morning, half in the afternoon, and drank plenty of water. And then maybe the next day I might have just did a complete fast. That might have been the most. But I've learned in my studies and my growth of all the many times, all the many years, months of dieting and trying to lose weight and get healthier is that fasting is very beneficial. And I might do a video over that, kind of going into the details of why is it beneficial and so forth. But I just want to kind of share what I was doing just in case people are seeing these numbers and wondering, how are you able to drop these pounds? And a lot of times people ask those questions. So just to kind of share with you what I've done so far, and that has helped me. And I've have like several years of experience of attempting getting healthy and so forth. Goal number 4. This is the goal where if you watched my previous videos, it was a struggle. I had to improvise. I had to go back and find out a different strategy in order to make progress on this goal. However, needless to say, I've already met this goal, but I know I'm not just wanting to start the sequel course. I actually want to finish, even though my goal says to start. That's just to get me started, but I still want to make progress. And I wasn't making any progress until the 19th, which that's when I actually embedded this as a part of my work schedule. So since this goal relates to my work, my actual main job, not my supplementary job, but this is my 9 to 5 job that I work at, and that pays my bills pretty much. I'm able to embed this into my work schedule since it relates to work. So what I did was I sketched out a block of time in my work schedule each day that I'm going to dedicate towards education. And that for me, at first I said at the last part of my schedule, then I started having conflicts with some meetings that I had to be on. And then I was like, you know what, when it comes to something that you sometimes, in my opinion, might slack off on, generally it's best to just get it done the first thing. Like, for example, for me, I used to go to the gym in the afternoons after work, and a lot of times that could be very counterintuitive because if you are, I know for myself, after I get off of work, I'm tired. And so I have more of a temptation to not go to the gym versus if I actually get up in the morning, once I get myself up, I'll be able to be better about going to the gym because then I already have it done before my day is done. And then in the afternoon, I have quite several things to do with my son, and then also earning the extra income that I'm trying to earn. So I don't want to take away any time there because before I know it, it's time for bed and such and such and such. So the best thing to do in most cases, in my opinion, is to try to find some time first thing of whatever time it is. So first thing for me, in my work schedule, I go to work at 8:30. I leave work at 5. And so 8:30 to 9:30 every day, I've blocked off on my calendar so that I can dedicate that first hour to education. And so that really helped me along the way because I was able to complete module 1 of this course and start module 2. And then now today, I was able to complete module 2 and actually start module 3. So I'm like halfway done with this course in the matter of a few days, when I've been starting this since May the 4th, and I didn't make any progress in 2 weeks, pretty much. I didn't make any progress on, but putting it in a routine. Now, this is a good example of how well that works. Once I wrote it in my routine and I found the time to do it, I can't then make the excuse of not having time. So I just had to manage my time better by blocking off the time that I'm spending at work and saying, okay, an hour of time isn't much to put towards education. It actually is benefiting me in my job. So why couldn't I block off that hour of time to work towards this goal? So that's what I did. I actually blocked it off, and look how far it has gotten me. And there are some other videos that I share about creating routines, the benefits of creating routines and habits. And so this for me right now is a routine. And eventually, the more I do it, it's going to become a habit. It's just going to be second nature to me to just go ahead and be, okay, what can I learn today? And I think it's gonna pan out very well if I continue this on my job, where I'm actually blocking off that hour of time each day to learn something new. It's just going to help me learn more, because that's a lot of days, a lot of hours that I'll be spending on learning. So in a month, let's say 5 months, 5 days in this month. So 22 days, that's 22 hours. That's almost a whole day of learning something new. And that directly relates to my job. So there'll be a lot of things that I could actually get through in 22 hours, because this course here, totally it's like 6 hours, I believe, about a little bit over 6 hours. So I could have learned about 4 different courses if they were the same amount. About 4 courses I could have went through. And that's a lot of courses. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of information. That's a lot. I'll be growing more and more with this skill set if I were to delegate that time. So it's really helping me overall beyond this goal, just be able to be more knowledgeable. And I also I completed module 3 on the 21st. So yay to me. Okay, goal number 5, read, study, and meditate on discipline. So each week what I did was I've been studying and reading and meditating. And so I just wrote down my takeaway from that week. So the first week, of course, because I'm learning more about self-discipline, it makes sense for my resonating statement to be about self-discipline directly. And so it just shares the importance of having self-discipline. If you are, I know I am intelligent and I am talented, but without self-discipline, I didn't feel like I was working in my full potential. And this is why. Because without self-discipline, I'm not going to be able to rise more than likely above mediocrity. And I'm trying to rise above that. I'm trying to become an expert on my job. I'm trying to be better with my finances. I'm trying to be better health wise. So in order to be better, that means I'm trying to be above average. I'm just not trying to be average on these things. I want to advance myself beyond average if I can. And I don't want to be a hindrance to myself. So therefore, I need self-discipline. So this resonating statement came from a book that I am reading called The Power of Self-Discipline. And it is linked below in the description of most of my videos. And it was very short and sweet. It's actually by Daniel Walter. It's like 128 pages worth of reading. So, and then I've already kind of alluded to, behavior, routine, and habit, and establishing routine. Got my gym routine going on. I got my education routine that relates to my work, and building a habit to help build a stronger willpower in order for me to achieve my goals. So, for example, in that last goal, in order for me to achieve the goal of that sequel course, I had to build it in my routine. I couldn't just stand alone on my behaviors and then just figuring out what the last of my day is left with and whether I do have time to delegate towards it. When I had time, but I just needed to just schedule a block of time where I would say, this is what I'm going to focus on during this time, this and this only. And look how far I've been able to come. I actually made it all the way through 3 modules in a matter of 2 days. That's just living proof of how effective building a routine can be for anything that you might not be making progress on. And then last week, because of the weekends that I've had, I've been reading and studying on about finances and budget. And I came across this on one of the videos, and as soon as I read it and I shared it, I was like, oh man, that kind of really stands out to me. It said, pay yourself first, prioritize saving before spending so it becomes a non-negotiable part of your budget. This means setting aside a predetermined amount for savings or investments immediately after receiving income rather than waiting to see what's left at the end of the month. And I realized that this spoke so much to me because it pretty much put me on blast. Because I can say that I have been more so waiting to see what's left at the end of the month, and then pretty much it goes towards spending. I really didn't have a savings set up. I had in the past, and I've started one for my son. Like he has a few. He has his Gerber insurance, and then he also has a high yield savings account that I've started saving for him as well. But then I want to actually build additional savings. Like I want to structure my finances by having an emergency fund. So if anything were to happen, it's not me scrambling within the month trying to figure out where the money is going to come from. I need to build my emergency fund so that it'll cover me for maybe like half a year if it needed to, with all of the expenses that I might have for half a year. And I had a sticky note somewhere, but I had so many sticky notes that I probably thrown those away. But yeah, I think it was like I'm trying to at least get up to $20,000, like $20,000 in my emergency fund is like just my number right now. And then I want to create my own retirement fund. I want to do my own investment on the side of my job investments. And I want to even step into like literally investing. And that's going to take time. I'm not going to try to jump all the way into the deep end of the pool of savings, but it is going to be a stepping stone for me to um, be able to push some of my money towards investing and getting a return on those. Also, I wanted to, so emergency fund, my own personal retirement savings. I know that I travel. I have different traveling things. As you can see from this month, I've traveled out of town twice. And then next month, I at least have one so far, one weekend to travel. And then on July, I have a whole week that I'll be out traveling. Um, August, my son's birthday, we're more than likely going to be going out of town to travel. And then there's some birthdays that I might attend or might not. Might have to just take one and just say I'm not able to attend, but there might be additional things that I have to travel for. I know my birthday is coming up in October. That's going to be a traveling thing. And then we've somewhat planned a trip, possibly with some friends or whatever. So I just have each month I have something dealing with. More than likely, I have something dealing with travel. So what better way to prepare for those traveling engagements than by having a savings where I'm actually building up my money and my funds to go straight into traveling. And my goal is to have it where my savings will at least be a certain amount. So right now that certain amount I think is like $5,000 that I said, to at least have $5,000 within each month, like as my bare minimum amount of money that I have to go towards savings, that's going to be more than enough savings for traveling over the course of several months. But that's how I'm able to not make it go down with the expenses that I would have for that month. As far as traveling, it won't require $5,000 per se right now. There might be some future adventures that I might say, okay, I have this amount of money I've been able to save. So maybe I would, have a trip that would go towards $5,000. But so far, at most, it's been like 1,000, few a few hundreds over $1,000. So I would want to have $5,000 plus the amount that I need to travel. So that way, when I take out that amount from that savings account, I'm still left with the 5,000. So the 5,000 is gonna always be like the least amount of money that I would have in that account. But right now, I'm just learning and I'm taking the time to study and find and figure out which route I want to go as far as the different accounts that I'm going to open for savings, the ones that can earn me interest that I can also pull from if needed without it being a fee or whatever, or making it difficult to be able to pull money out of it. So I'm just doing research. But I am going to share towards the end of this video how far I've come along with that and some additional things. So that's just kind of to share where I'm at with that. And then, of course, this week with my reading and studying, I'll have a resonating statement that I can put down for there. Goal number 6, implement discipline in all areas of my life. I was able to implement discipline mentally by making sure that I'm self-aware, taking my walk breaks. That's helped me tremendously during my work. That gives me that step away moment to kind of regroup myself, rejuvenate, rethink, refresh. And then going to the gym also is something that has helped me mentally, as well as like turning off notifications on my phone, social media and such. Career wise, I use a work log and a priority list, which I love because I'm able to kind of track my progress on things and see how many things I've resolved, how many things I'm working on, how many things are on hold. And I make notes off to the side, so it kind of helps me be able to retrace where I'm at with the task. So I don't have to kind of try to remember all on my own because I'm working on several things at a time. And so sometimes that could lend itself to you trying to spend time remembering. So by me having this work log and priority list, it helps me build a little bit more discipline with managing my time effectively on the job. And then finance wise, I've been focusing so much on my budgeting, especially when it came to those weekend getaways. For this first week, it was Mother's Day weekend that I budgeted for, just being more proactive versus reactive to the cost of traveling. And also, I've refrained a whole lot more going out to eat and spending money unnecessarily. So I did track my spending on that, and I was appalled at how much money I was spending. I spent within the last few months on different things. And that money could have very well much. So I know based on that, I know that I have the money to put towards savings because somehow I was able to put that money towards spending. And that could have very well, a percentage of that could have went towards savings. As far as implementing in my body, I have my gym routine. I'm on this low carb, low calorie, high protein diet. I've been still sticking to my walk breaks and gyms in the morning. Um, just overall, just trying to do my best with implementing and staying on track with those things. And temptation comes, just like I said, temptations come, but it's what I do with those temptations. Am I going to fall into those temptations or not? Or am I going to stay focused on what my goal is? I'm getting very close to the end of this month, and I don't want to do something drastic at the end that's going to deter me from reaching my goal. Recreation, to me, that's like work-life balance, engaging in activities that align with my goals, like going to the gym, having that time to be able to make secondary income, budgeting, and also being aware of myself to know when I need to take a break to relax and rest. Organization, I utilize calendars on my phone and at work, and that helps me tremendously with remembering deadlines, meetings, traveling. I even have my stuff on my calendar for when I was out of town for Mother's Day weekend. I had the massage booked, so I had definitely wanted to put that on my calendar so I don't be behind time. On the wedding weekend, I had put in the weekend of the time for that weekend. And then for the upcoming month, I have a Juneteenth event that I'm going to out of town. And so I've already had to make reservations for that, like hotel reservations for that. And I already had pushed that to my calendar as well so that I can kind of have that in my mind. And then in July, I've already booked reservations for that's actually going to be my boyfriend's birthday week in July that we're going out of town. And so I've already booked the reservations for that, which I'm going to have to include that in my budget as well. I haven't included that in my budget as of yet, but I definitely need to actually put that in there so I can see because so there's several things that I've put on my calendar. And for my phone calendar, these are personal things outside of work. And then at my work calendar, I put on there my PTO, if I have an event, like tomorrow I have to go to my son's school award ceremony. I put that on my calendar, the block of time. It also makes it transparent for people that I work with. They can actually view my calendar and see, what I have going on and things like that. So it just helps me with my task and progress over time as well. And then as far as my heart, I'll be sharing just tips on what this is and how to implement. And then at the end of the week, I'll share how I implemented it. Goal number 6, that'll be the last part of that would be next week, where I'll talk about how I implemented discipline in my soul. So again, here are my 6 lovely goals, and so far I have met 1 out of these 6 goals. I'm on track to meet them all. This one is just something that was very quick to meet because it says to start, and I actually started the sequel course on May the 4th. So that's a check mark for that. I am planning to have this goal number 2, done as well before the end of this month. And then maybe possibly goal number 3. We shall see. Goal number 1, I'm a distance away to even say right now whether or not I'll be able to meet that before the end of the month, but we shall see. I would say maybe sometime around after maybe Sunday, it'll give me a good idea of where I'm at. So I will look at where I'm at on that on Sunday to see whether or not I might meet that goal before the end of the month. And then these 2 goals, they're going to continue me throughout because I'm going to be tracking how I implemented discipline and what I've been reading and studying and meditating on all throughout the month of May. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys again my budget just to show where I'm at with my budget. So let me just go ahead and jump to that real quick. So on the last video I shared with you guys part like you didn't see all of this because it wasn't there. I actually added on to my budget. So I started out with listing out all the different things here, all the many different things that that I could think of that I needed to pay within a month. Just all my different things. And actually, I had to add on some other things just by looking at my. I have an Urban Air membership for my son. So I just started out by, and this might change, like it might grow, depending on what expenses I might have. For example, I talked about my traveling out of town. You know, even though I could include it in other, I might want to set it aside as one thing. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But for right now, this is the formatting of my budget, and I might change it over time, but for right now, this is how it is, just so I can get a good idea of what I'm spending. So I made a list of all the different things that I would have to buy in a month or make payments towards in a month. Then I created a category titled type. And so that tells me whether it's a variable amount. That means the amount that I might pay in a month might change or it stays the same. So I would say for my savings account, I could actually, even though I have a set amount that I know that I'm going to make, it could change. Like one month, I might have extra money to put towards savings. So that's why it's a variable, because it's not really a fixed hard number. I could actually change that number any day that I choose. Gerber insurance, that's a fixed amount because it's based off of whatever I signed up for. My rent is fixed. Utilities is variable because depending on how much lighting and water and all the other stuff, it could change. Internet is fixed. Daycare is variable, because sometimes my son might go to daycare the full week or the full day, and then during school time, it's a little bit less because he's only there after school. Versus summertime, he might be there the full day. So it's variable because it's changed. Car insurance is pretty much fixed. Gas, I say that is fixed, but really that should be variable because that could change. It depends on how much I'm traveling. Groceries can be something that could, and so sometimes with the way that I see it is variable. These are the things that I could potentially save. I could figure out a way to save money. Definitely not trying to save on my savings, but I could try to increase how much I'm able to put in my savings. But as it comes to these other bills that are in different categories, I could try to save money on my utilities. I could try not to use so much lighting or lights or water. I could try to save money there. Daycare, I could potentially save money. It all depends. Like with me working from home, I could, make arrangements that where he doesn't have to necessarily go the full week, and that could save me money. Or he could have other arrangements where it wouldn't cost me any money. Gas, depending on the transportation and how far I have to travel, I could save on that as well. That's something groceries, I could definitely save money on groceries. That comes along with budgeting as I'm shopping, with the different things that I'm spending. Credit, those are also variables. Those are also variables, but I wanted to create its own type. I wanted to make sure that I noted that it's credit because these are the things that I am going to be gearing towards paying off. So I want to make sure that those, and I probably should make them variable because I already have a category. So I'm going to switch them to variable. So it's either fixed or it's variable. It's either a fixed amount or a variable amount. And these are actually variables. I could actually save on these by not spending a lot or by paying it all off and so forth. And then I do have some subscriptions here. And I have some other subscriptions, but I have those kind of like auto paid through credit card that's already listed on here. So I'm not going to worry about putting it separate because by me paying off this credit card, it's going to account for whatever that subscription is. So I'll be kind of paying it twice. Then I created a category type. And I think I have, if I do my little filter list, you can see all the different categories I have. I think 10 different categories: business, childcare, debt repayment, groceries, healthcare, housing, miscellaneous, personal spending, savings, investment, transportation, utilities. I have all those. And then I prioritize them, of course, because pay myself first, I'm prioritizing savings. So I definitely put that as priority one. So that's like at the top of my budget. And then I kind of worked my way down to the other stuff. Definitely want to make sure I take care, because this is also kind of like savings as well. So that's why I made it a priority of two, even though it's in a different category. And then of course I try to prioritize my bills. Um, and what made the best sense. And I try to put the things at the bottom of my priority list are things that I would more than likely be able to um, change, or, those are things that I can kind of work with as far as how much I'm paying. But if it has a high priority, that means it's more non-negotiable. It's like it's a must. I have to pay these things. These things are important. And I know car insurance is important, but I had to put it wherever in relation to the other things. Because to be honest, there are different car insurance. Even though I've had the same car insurance for years, there might be some later on, who knows, I might be looking at. And I actually have 3 cars. So when you look at this amount, it's not really that bad, because that's like average $100 per vehicle. All right, so then I also have, like, I want to make sure that, because I get paid bi-weekly, which you have to do something very different with your budget when you get paid bi-weekly, because that's kind of splitting your bills. Like, you got to make sure that this paycheck covers whatever bills that are due at this time, or the bills that might be close beyond that time before you get paid for the next time. And then the next time you got to do the same thing. So I have to keep track of my due date. So my spending, my savings, of course, those I'm gonna get those automatic out like daily. I already have my son's savings. His is already automated where it's taken out daily. These other ones are new ones that I'm actually implementing 4 new savings accounts that I will start automating, making it automated. So I put like the day of the week. Either I put the day of the week that it's due, or like for daycare that's actually due weekly. Car insurance, that's a certain day of the month. And then some of these is bi-weekly. I just include how much I would plan to have to spend on gas bi-weekly in a month. So I just put a due date based on when it's due, or when I'm expected to pay it. That way I'll know later down the line when I do my budget for the weeks and stuff. And then based on that due date, I put how many times am I actually going to have to make this payment in a month. So if it's daily, that's about 30 days. Gerber insurance, if it's a particular day that is due, it's going to be a one time. Weekly, of course, 4 weeks. Bi-weekly is 2. Monthly is 1. So yeah. And then I put my budgeted amount, meaning how much am I budgeting myself to spend? Well, I'm budgeting myself to spend maybe $10 starting out daily on these savings. Put $10 daily into these savings for those 30 days. And it gives me my total budgeted amount. So it's taking this times that to get this value. I'm making this payment once a month, and I have this. So I'm just totaling up my budget of how much I'm geared to spend. And I actually need to I'm going to do my sum. I'm going to actually equal sum. Yeah. Equal sum. And actually I could drag it over. I'm going to do it like this. That's not a sum. To drag it over, and then make these a dollar amount. And then probably do a bold down here so I can have it bolded. And I want it to be a shade. Uh-oh. I don't want the whole thing to be shaded. I just want I just want whatever part of it is a part of the graph to be shaded. Okay, and that might be too dark. So let me choose a lighter gray. That one might be better. Okay. And then I could make it bigger, you know. And I might change it, you know, I might change it. I'll put maybe about 14. Well, not that big. That's too big. We'll put it at 12. So yeah, so then I can see how much I budgeted, how much overall it's going to cost me in a month. Since each of these are actually, some of them I might have to pay once a month. Some of them I might have to pay twice a month. Some of them, you know, I have different frequencies. So I had to make sure that I convert it to a monthly. And this is all because I get paid bi-weekly. If I had my teaching job, I would pay it all. It was just a much easier budget because I would have to just take my full paycheck at the end of the month and then pay all my bills for the upcoming month. I didn't have to split them out and things like that. But because I get paid bi-weekly, I'm having to split it out like this. And then, so now I added on, I'm gearing myself up for this recent payment. You know, I got paid for this. I'll be getting paid on the 22nd. So I'm kind of adding this column in, these 3 columns here. And that's just letting me know, okay, on this week, this payment or this paycheck, is it actually due? Am I due to make the payment on each of these? And so I either put a yes or a no, and then based on that yes or no, it'll total out how much am I due for. And so I do have a formula that helps me with most of these, but then some of them might be a little different from what the formula would be. So I just type those in. For example, well, yeah, on these, I just put it to whatever was in this column. If this is yes, then it's going to show this. Otherwise, if it's a no, it's just going to put a 0. And then I'm gearing myself up for, okay, if I'm actually paying what I owe, how much am I actually paying? And I've already looked at what my utility bill is, which look at there, it's under what I budgeted for. So that's great. That's a plus. That means I did good with how much utilities I used. Some of these variables, I'm going to color code this because it's going to make it easier for me to just eyeball it and see the ones that I should be able to. Some of these I put a 0 because as of now I haven't had to pay any gas, but I'm going to be tracking how much I actually pay towards gas and towards groceries. I'm not thinking that I'm going to spend anything groceries probably at the beginning of the month. So maybe my next pay, I'll put some money towards groceries. But I'm going to still track and see if I spend because I might have to go to the store and buy a few things. So we shall see. Gym, that's already been taken out of my account because that's an automatic transaction. And then at the bottom, you can see how much, you know, for this paycheck, how much this paycheck needs to cover. So that's my budget there. And then again, I'll show you guys my summer. I haven't added anything to there, but I will be adding in like, okay, how much did I actually spend? So this is how much I budgeted for, but how much did I actually spend on each of these categories for the month? So this will be month of May. I didn't track anything for my first paycheck, and I'm not going to worry about going back. I'm just going to go forward and just say, okay, for the month of May, how far off track was I on my budget? And then for the month of June, really it's gearing me for the month of June to set up my budget going forward. So that's sharing with you guys my budget. And if you want to know how I did it more in detail, I do go more in detail in the previous video where I share with the different tools within Excel that you can do on Google Sheets. And so you can go back and watch that video. But I want to also share with you guys another thing that I've been researching and looking into as it relates to my savings. So I'm going to share that with you on the next slide. All right, actually, I'm going to share that with you on the next video where I share with you my research on the different savings that I'm potentially looking to open as far as my emergency fund. So I'll share that with you on the next video, so stay tuned. Again, it's been a joy sharing this and being vulnerable with you guys, being transparent, being an example, whatever you want to say that it is for you, motivation, kind of seeing myself work myself through this. It is not pre-planned, nothing. This is just on the fly, me working myself through the goals and being transparent as I document on my YouTube channel. So as always, I will see you guys tomorrow on my next video as I share with you my progress on my goals. Again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. See you until next time.